finding new, innovative, new creative ways to do communication. So of course I will a bit introduce our context, the world we're living in, and how it evolves. So very quickly, you can see on this graph the level of advancement of new technologies in the world today, and you see the time. And this is probably where we are today. Maybe because we see new technologies emerging every day. We see new usages. People use technologies in innovative ways as well. We see that people have become physical animals. So it's a mix of physical and digital, and no matter which generation you're coming from, we are all using digital every day. So what is important to note is that as consumers, as people, we have expectations towards organizations, towards businesses. We have expectations that they will go through digital transformation, that they will benefit from this world, which is changing a lot. And we know that the pace of change is going to accelerate. We are just at the beginning. A second observation is that we are going towards a new map of the world. We don't have any frontier, no nations anymore. We can connect from everywhere in the world. We just see recently, Je suis Charlie retweeted 3 million times in less than 24 hours. So we see the emergence of communities and networks all around the world, just gathering because of common values, common ideas, common interests. So you don't have any limits anymore for the creation of networks and communities. And you don't have limits for this creation, but you need to know as well that these communities, they are created as quickly as they disappear. So you need to be listening to the world to identify those new communities and benefit from them to influence the change. The big five, the new big five, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon, their products cost nothing but services. Services are very important. So as communicators, how can we make the best of this change that products will cost less and less, but services will be more and more important? So how can you better engage with customers, with stakeholders, with citizens, so that your services become better and more useful? Is this the end of communication as usual? It's certainly the end of a communication which costs a lot, because you don't need to spend millions of euros now to engage with your public. You can be efficient using those technologies which cost nothing at this stage. The products cost nothing. So it's up to each one of us as communicators to be innovative and use the best of this world, which is changing around communities and networks, to be more efficient. Just so you know, 40% of the world is online. 50% of the world is mobile. 30% of the world is social. And so we can speak of the digital transformation of the communication function as well. So, what is the situation today? Of course, we are in a world saturated with information. We know that it's more and more difficult to reach your audience because your audience receives a lot of information. So there are less and less space for you to create new communication. So what you need to do, instead of creating new space every time, think about where your audience is. Because what you realize when you create new space is that it will be difficult for you to attract people to your space. So it's always better. It's the most efficient way, I think, and it's clear, to go where the audience is. So before initiating any communication activity, try to better understand your audience, what you want to reach. except for niche. If you provide high value to your stakeholders, high value to your citizens, then of course there is space for niche. And why? Because people are getting ready to shift from one application to another for different purposes. So it's very important that you provide high value if you want to create a new app. But you need to know that it's not a generation thing. Contrary to our beliefs, people age from 55 plus use 22 different apps per month, compared to 29 for the generation 25, 24. So it's not a generation thing. People now are used to shift from one platform to another, and it's an opportunity for you as communicator. Everyone is a media outlet. Everyone now can publish pictures, videos, blog posts from a conference. From this conference, if you want, for instance, you could already decide today to share this conference, what you learned today online with your followers on different social media platforms such as Twitter or Facebook. You could post videos, and you could, of course, forward and pass the right messages about this conference, and you will attract more people. So the question is, once you have this audience, once you have these people able to pass messages for you online, how to convert them into active promoters? So you see, for instance, you take a picture from today, you say we are listening to this conference about innovative communication because we want, as CAP communicators, to be more innovative. What do you think? Online, you ask your crowd online, what do you think we should do to be more innovative? And so you broaden the discussion with people who are not here today. And thanks to that, we welcome all of us here new ideas on what we could do. And so the most important thing to think about is I'm not sharing just for the sake of sharing and sharing my life. You know, I'm a great and fantastic person. But I just share because I want to convert my audience into active contributors of my topic. So for instance, agriculture is a fantastic topic. We know that it will be in the coming years one of the most innovative industries in the world. We know that farmers will use apps to harvest. We know that it's a very exciting topic for everyone on Earth. So it's very important to look at how you can convert your followers into active promoters of what you do today, CAP communication. And so customers today, thanks to being media outlets, thanks to being able to publish content without intermediaries, they can be influencers. They can provide feedback. They can contribute to improve your service. As we say, they can contribute to improve your communication. They can influence others that you are doing the right thing. And they have, of course, the power to be game changers if CAP has not been pressed today. So how can we, as communicators, make the best of this new trend? At your next events, for instance, how can you use more social media to attract more followers to the topic? How can you make sure that CAP Communication Day like this is more visible to other communities that could not be here, to those people who were not able to be there today with us? Another question we have is, what about press releases in communication? Do we still need press releases? Do journalists learn the same way as they were before? We know that journalists are mainly on Twitter now. So if you want to have a good press coverage about your day, about the event, about your communication, you need to use Twitter. Because sending press release will not you will not make you as efficient as if you were on Twitter, conversing with journalists. Because this is where they are now. This is where they are. And everyone is a media, but everyone wants relationships, and they want authenticity. They want you to engage with them. So you probably, do you know what is the currency of the digital world? The social capital, wealthy factor. And the result of this, the wealthy factor, is consumer loyalty. Why? Because your stakeholders, they need to engage with your values. They need to engage with your values in order to actively promote your services. And this is why your employees in the ministries, in the NGOs, are the best for promoting your values. You need to use them as brand ambassadors. Because why? Because it's not an organization. I mean, you probably know this book, Organizations Don't Tweet, People Do. So on social media, it's important that people communicate and not organizations. So you need to use your people to communicate your values. And we see different trends there to communicate values. We see organizations creating blogs. So it's very easy to do. You can create a blog with HTML5 without any IT competence. So you can create a blog promoting your values. We have an example with Unbottled, for instance. There are other examples. There are some cities today who create sites for their services and sites for their values. So for instance, you look for the city Paris, and you could have a site with the values of the city Paris, and you could also find a site about the services of the city Paris. Imagine we had a European Commission site on values and a European Commission site on service. Because as we said before, when you have a niche, you can create another channel which provides high value. I think it's something to consider. Okay, we are not only in the world of digital, so when you want to promote your values, one good idea is also to invite a personality to promote your values, someone who has the same values as your organization. And we saw the case very successfully recently with Emma Watson. She did a campaign about feminism and gender equality, and it was probably the best communication you've ever done, this project. So important relationships and authenticity. And shared experience. You probably remember the Ice Bucket Challenge. Recently, did you participate? So what does it mean, shared experience? It's because everybody is a media, okay? You will need to develop stories and experience to share with your audience so that they actively contribute to making your project a success. Again, they need to have a high added value. And one idea, for instance, is that you could start already creating your vision and your narrative about the why with your primary audience. So what we call the top fans, those who will then actively promote your projects. So it's important that you start co-creating with them. And in today's world, organizations will definitely have to learn how to generate buzz from a shared experience.